T. Vasudeva Reddy is the author, poet, novelist, critic, editor, authored 11 collections of poems, 3 novels, 1 grammar book and 3 critical books, received awards of the International Eminent Poet in 1987, honorary D.Litt from the Walk, San Francisco in 1988. He is the recipient of the Best Teacher Award of Andhra Pradesh in 1990, Best Poetry Award for his third book, The Fleeting Bubbles, from the Michael Madhusudan Academy, Calcutta in 1994. He is retired principal.
The entire world is now facing the horrible COVID-19 crisis. Humanity might never have experienced such a grave situation. Scientific minds are baffled to analyze it, as it is changing its colors like a chameleon. Till now there is no reliable remedy at all. My poem, a simple sonnet, is on Corona. Now the poem. Migrants. Restless wheels came to an abrupt halt. Sunrise for migrants turned to sunset. Restless wheels came to an abrupt halt. Sunrise for migrants turned to sunset. Silent shadows lost savor and salt in their millennium walk of favor and flame. Silent shadows lost savor and salt in their millennium walk of favor and flame. Hunger, the real Corona, had its tall, tired feet marched in hot, bruised sweat. Hunger, the real Corona, had its tall, tired feet marched in hot, bruised sweat. Under the spell of nostalgic homely call, minds raised, defying lockdown threat. Under the spell of nostalgic homely call, minds raised, defying lockdown threat. Hearts deposited in poor native lockers, legs moved, lifeless with backpacks. With hearts deposited in poor native lockers, legs moved, lifeless with backpacks. To die in their soil with no breakers, to die in their soil with no breakers, they dreamed. Some got killed on tracks. Epic journey often ends in the grave, death defining our hearts of the brave. Epic journey often ends in the grave, death defining our hearts of the brave.
Umasree Raghunath is a senior IT professional with IBM. She is an author, blogger, poet, lawyer, diversity and inclusion social activist, motivational speaker, past president, Inner Wheel Club of Madras South. She is also the vice president, EVIT.
My poem, Light the Hope for the Future. The world is gripping with death and fear, war with the infinitesimal enemy near. Time to raise with faith and not fear, sadness, hopelessness and several unshed tears. How fragile impermanence is real art. Global crisis teaching how weak humans are. How equal we are in the eyes of teacher virus, with no limits of race, religion or national borders. Today is still the day, tomorrow is unknown. Let's take this moment to shout out our love, call and ask for that forgiveness. Take a moment to pause and show gratitude. Crisis teaches us the loss of vanity of our lives. In midst of existing madness, let's stay grounded, not losing perspectives to fill our lives. For one day, this too shall pass, but the lessons not. Global pandemic showed that no country is big, no culture is supreme, all are just human species. Respect every living being with hope of tomorrow. Get back with hope and live again in true harmony.
Dr. Pon.Lakshmanan is a retired Joint Commissioner of Labour, Government of Tamil Nadu. The Waves is his poetry anthology. He has been contributing poems and articles to various journals.
Hi, I am Pon.Lakshmanan from Chennai. I am now going to recite a poem on Corona. The title is Does Corona Chasten? The agitated labor resort to go slow. tool down, pen down, strike. Productions slow. In rage, employers lock out and throw them out of engagement. They undergo hardship. Competitors thrive and blow. Employers introspect for a way to know. Selfish men hurt the greenery cattle, causing excruciating pain to rattle. Nature awaits humans in battle, spreading virus, benumbed men to prattle. The lockdown in confinements, isolation, alone after desolation of the albatross, seeking salvation as found in Coleridge's just narration. Now pollution free, pure water, pure air, clean streets, no clutter, philosophical mind, a good starter. To practice pure life, a waiter. Thank you.
Dr. Ranjana Sharan Sinha is a well-known name in the Indian poetry in English. 2 of her poems are prescribed for the syllabus of MA English Literature for 4th semester. She received commendation from former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, for her poem Mother Nature. She authored and published 7 books in different journals and 50 research papers. She is a retired professor of English from SB City College, Nagpur, India.
Hi, my name is Ranjana Sharan Sinha. I am a poet and professor from Nagpur. I'll recite one of my poems on migrant laborers. The title of my poem is Let There Be Light. Unrealized hopes, dashed dreams, incised into heat and dust, aching feet on the earth's crust, the threat of a virus lurks. Starvation their enemy the biggest. The caravan of misery, archives of pain. Their labor goes down the drain. No space for the worker's migrant. Fatigued by long journey on foot, dying many times before their deaths, with tears in eyes, hunger in breaths. Their voices nobody gives a hoot. Under a searing sun in a rainless sky, the creators of cities, sustainers of comforts, aliens on the road they made with sweats, soulless cities, time to say goodbye. Thank you so much.
Asim Kumar Paul is the author of 3 poetry books and 5 poetry chapbooks. Asim Kumar Paul is conferred with Literary Award for his rich contribution to poetry in January 2020 by Chennai Poets Circle, India. Now Asim is working on 2 poetry chapbooks, Rain and Conversation during the pandemic, expected to be self-published anytime if normalcy comes.
Hi, I'm Asim Kumar Pal. I am reading my poem, An Old Man's Light. I have never thought an unexpected work comes with scathing harm after the winter. This summer, the thirst and the hunger damage life, dream, comfort, love and touch. It is a blur of future point. We walk on heavy warpath where we are choked out in our throat and our lungs. Birds are singing as if they are begging for us pristine life amid indigence of vast clogged air, how poor we are in millions. Passing through night's abyss, we cannot touch, you cannot speak, you cannot borrow breath in open air, and it breaks summer solace and old man's plight to remain alive, unable to bear. Then 3 crude rumbles come, locust attack, Amphan, forest fire, making the wear in the line of harm, crushing fear across border with pandemic. Still, we dream to glow up our vision, our hope does not melt away and wisdom prevails. Thank you.
Hello, my dear fellow poets. This is Ravi Ranganathan from Chennai, and I am going to recite to you all a poem entitled Life is Not One Big Lockdown. I am thankful to Gopichandji and Nagasushila for having given me this opportunity to recite. COVID or no COVID, virtual or real, it is such a pleasure to participate in Guntur Poetry Festival. Here goes the poem. Life is not one big lockdown. World was reeling and spinning too fast for comfort. Nature had to apply a sudden and deadly brake. Nations are suffocated, struggling to hold the fort, crippling all on the back foot with everything at stake. Humanity is made to pause. Humanity is made to pause eerily by an invisible enemy, deeply driving all indoors in one dangerous sweep. Is the foe veritably an indistinguishable one virus army, provoking stars to blink blank and even heavens to weep? Infection is so widespread. All nations in lockdown mode, migrant workers stuck and shocked, peasants paralyzed, no road, no rail, no flying on air, people cocooned in their abode. It's a topsy-turvy, dizzy universe, disastrously downsized. Scrupulous social distancing, intensive, inimical isolation, fear the special laws of the land or face rigorous quarantine, rich or poor, high or low, you are tied to a task. At home or away, to breathe, you have to wear that wretched mask. Yes, COVID has mercilessly unleashed an unmitigated disaster. Yes, Corona is hard upon us, and we are painfully restless and listless. Yes, everything seems to be falling apart, here and hereafter. Yes, we need to draw all our intrinsic inner strength, cannot afford to be breathless. Yes, certainly, we poets of the pandemic, we will unite. Yes, we will certainly mull a way beyond to break the bacterial theme. Yes, we will certainly inspire young and old, men and women to fight outright. And yes, we will certainly thwart any venomous viral scheme. Thank you all. Really enjoyed reciting.
Chittaluri Satyanarayana is a poet, short story writer and critic. He is working as junior lecturer in English at Dindi Model School and Junior College, Nalgonda. He published 3 poetry anthologies in Telugu and mini poems in English. He resides in Hyderabad, Telangana state.
I am Chittaluri from Hyderabad. Now I am going to recite a poem, the title as That Only Counts. It's the same road that you came walking, they are still walking. It's the same road that you came walking, they are still walking. Just go along the road and look at them. At least your mind may be melted as wet ice, looking at their blistered feet. The same sky that you came flying, they are walking under, being unable to fly. No raindrop to freeze the hot condition. Just stay back under the sky. May you become at least an umbrella to give them a shade. May you become at least an umbrella to give them a shade. On the same earth that you stepped on, they too becoming a tireless stepping foot. Just look out, stepping out. May you become at least the tears that wash away their stained feet. May you become at least the tears that wash away their stained feet. They spread the very plates that you emptied before. Just peep into their plates. At least you may fill in them with a few cooked grains of rice. Breaking the walls, or at least through fissures. Breaking the doors, or at least through the cracked holes. When you can see the wall in a different way, then only you can live. And letting them live, you can shelter in their hearts forever. Nothing great in your self-living. Nothing great in your self-living. When you make live the sky where no bird unable to fly, the sky where no bird unable to fly, the earth where no one step on, the earth where no one step on, the road which is unable to reach home, the road which is unable to reach home, then only it counts that you're living. Then only it counts that you're living. That's all. Yours, Chittaluri.
Sankararajan Patra is from West Bengal, India. He writes poems in English and Bengali. He has been a guest teacher in different institutions. Every poet inspires him a lot. He is from Lalgarh, Jhargram from West Bengal.
Hi, I am Sankararajan Patra. I am going to recite my poem, The Migrants. For nature's cards, man seems to be helpless truly. Nothing in the hands. How much uncertainty. Migrant birds coming back, singing the songs of happiness. Migrant workers in distress, having no source of income. The whole day they work. Will they reach home? Doubts in the minds. Will this nightmare be stopped? How to run the household? No news assures them. Migrant workers in distress, having no source of income. Their children on the shoulders. They walk through the railway track, overcome all the tiredness. They escape all the dangers. No work in the hands, long rest to wait at home. Migrant workers in distress, having no source of income.
Sudhir Kumar Nanda is a poet, author, short stories and articles as well as quote writer. He has his master's degree in economics, psychology and diploma in creative writing in English. He writes in 3 languages, English, Hindi and Odia. His 2 published books are Psalms of Life, collection of 100 poems, and Fatal Adolescence, a novella, story of a teenage boy. He is from Calicut, Kerala.
Hi, I am Sudhir Kumar Nanda, going to recite my poem, Misery of Migrant Laborers. A glass of plain water is so delicious. Who has not taken food for 2 days? His wife and 2 kids survived on biscuits, has to walk 100 miles without any hope of race. Searching for greener pastures 1 decade ago, left his village for the dream city. Migrant workers, the suitable known designation, hand to mouth is the income, savings is a pity. Corona pandemic, the dreaded virus broken out all over the world, including India. Lockdown, the only option to control the virus, but everything stopped abruptly without any idea. Affluent have nothing to worry about, middle class have hardly any problem, but daily laborers are the only sufferers whose livelihood was taken into mayhem. Lockdown was extended for more than 60 days. Migrant laborers have no job, food or stay in. No option but to leave for the ancestral village. Plight of the have-nots never ceases and hardly win.
Mr. Saubhagyabanta Maharana is a bilingual poet, critic, and translator of Odia writings into English. He has received the prestigious Odia Sahitya Academy Award for Poetry. He has to his credit 16 poetry anthologies and 4 essay collections. He is a retired divisional manager of LIC, settled in Sambalpur, town of Odisha.
Hi, I am Saubhagyabanta Maharana and I am going to recite my poem, Life in the Times of COVID. Life in the times of COVID. The world is passing difficult days in solitude. The world is passing difficult days in solitude amid dreadful dance of death of coronavirus. Life becomes immensely miserable and desolate, beholding tragic plights of COVID patients. The spirit of humanity and amity paves the way for quarantine and social distancing to root out the disease in full measure, creating a healthy atmosphere of mankind. Life is now at severe war. Life is now at severe war with the frightful pandemic, the pitiful journeys of miles and miles, with bleeding bare feet of migrant laborers, the buses and Shramik special trains being hazards of lives are really tearful examples. Life has turned into a great challenge. For family front in times of COVID to muster strength, courage and awareness, fighting bravely against the pandemic. People are now alert enough to glorify faith. To wear masks and wash hands as safety measures.
Nasarudheen is a bilingual poet, author, critic, translator, essayist, and a resource person. He has authored an English grammar book and a few poetry books. He is a retired principal residing at Kasaragod, Kerala.
I am Nasarudheen.P from Kasaragod, Kerala. I would like to recite my poem written during these COVID days. Here, the name of the poem is Sad Was the Saddled Life. Sad was the saddled life. Coronavirus, the virulent virus. Touch me not was a befitting term to name it, being the shape of its flower. kept me separated by walls of bricks all around me white. Isolation creates desolation, but for others, consolation. Fear psychosis gears down life of all creations on this planet. Benumbed in summer heat of the day, the cold-blooded murderers COVID gallop here, there, and everywhere. Fear smokes out from each eye that lie. Modernity does not claim parentage of efforts futile to hold the horror. As palpitation by fear increase mercury level, I hear the throb of family outside the world. I remained inside my mud walls, in isolation for my solace and of others. Thank you.
Chandra Parida is a bilingual poet from Jajpur Road, Odisha. His poems have been published in many anthologies of national and international repute. He has been honored by many literary organizations of the country and abroad.
Hello friends, I am Bishnu Chandra Parida from Jajpur Road, Odisha. I am going to recite a poem which is based on the present plight of the migrants during lockdown. The name of the poem is entitled Destination Unreached. The days pass by and so the nights, but never ends the road ahead, disappears in the horizons, directionless. The road links life from the treadmills of Surat to Kalighat of Kolkata, hopes whisper through the corridors of dreams. From the pavements of Chennai, a deadly voice dares sailing on the dark waters of the Bay of Bengal, singing song in forlorn hearts. The desperate moments in Mumbai of prayerful longings for mothers and motherlands end bloodied on a railroad. A teenage girl succumbs to 150 km of non-stop walk. A hungry mother leaves behind the newborn on a road. A darling daughter dares carrying her ailing father 1200 km on cycling. Life doesn't yield to defeats, moves on, trudging through the impassable, a will indomitable. The road of pain and penury, the road of hunger and tear, the road of hope and despair, the road of birth and death, runs ahead, on and on, chasing the destination yet unreached. Thanks.
S.K.D. Prasadarao is a bilingual poet, advocate from Nujveedu, Andhra Pradesh.
Hi, good morning everybody. I am S.K.D. Prasadarao from Nujveedu. Now I am going to recite my poem titled as The Morning That Blooms Like a Wave. He wakes up even before the sun and travels to explore incessantly like the eye of light. He becomes a morning that blooms and a night that blossoms every day. He turns into a secret that travels along with time to reveal the hidden facts. He incarnates into a weapon of letters that investigates the silence and charges the darkness. He terrifies the terror and feels bravery in his pen and fights for the truth. He acts as a health bulletin of the society and announces the realities courageously. He walks like a shield of protection to safeguard the interests of the common man. He revolves round the horizons and comes back with his eyesight to dig out the facts. In his hands lie the bread and butter, the despair and depression, the gloomy stories of the poor. In his heart, nobody knows which histories of countries lie and how many sunsets draw curtains, how many sorrows exist and how many pleasures survive. He becomes the path of petrol that watches newly, saying that he too will chase Corona with his stroke of pen. He turns into the news story with the eyewitness of quarantine and isolations. He is an invincible soldier of letters who fights like a wave continuously without rest. He is an indomitable spirit that struggles for the common good of the society. Thank you very much.
SundarRajan is a published poet, writer, editor of Madras Hues and Myriad Views, poems published in various anthologies, short stories, translated into multiple languages, Tamil stories broadcasted in social media. SundarRajan is a chartered accountant, catalyst for social activities and tree planting in neighborhood.
Hi, I'm SundarRajan. I'm going to read out my poem, Native Resilience. Native Resilience. The advent of the next decade saw an alien infiltrate, bringing the world to a standstill, lockdown taking countries downhill. Migrant labor bore the brunt, taking in their stride the affront. With facilities out of bound, as food and shelter ran aground, hours on end, people were famished, turning many impoverished. Stout-hearted with a will of steel, sought avenues that would unveil. Braving the summer heat and dust, many trudged along without rest to reach their native place and seek the much-needed solace. A real test of endurance, that's the native resilience. Thank you.
And an accounts official in Indian Railways, Dr. Biswanath Kundu is an author of 11 books. Out of them, 5 are poetry anthologies. His poems and articles have been published in different prestigious anthologies and internationally famous journals. He has co-authored 2 books of criticism, Decoding Happy Isle, a golden treasury of contemporary Indian English poetry and peace, and On a Few Gems from the Rock Pebbles with Dr. Ramesh Chandra.
I am Biswanath Kundu. I am going to recite my poem, The Plight of the Unorganized Workers. Look, the plight of the unorganized workers that has reached an alarmingly distressing peak, followed by complete lockdown in the country in different phases, excepting emergency services as an immediate measure to contain pandemic COVID-19 till discovery of vaccine. Look how the suddenly jobless workers are changing their professions so fast, with every other day to earn something in an alternative way for the dear and near ones at home, all of whom feel so panicky at what will happen when government stops dole. Look, the young daily contractual laborer fighting for survival against the disaster, super cyclone Amphan that started dancing in vast areas of the city of joy as forecast, plunging everything into total load shedding and waterlogging, cycling from door to door with candles of different sizes, for sale even at 10 o'clock at night to ensure smile for the family. Thank you.
Cyril Jacob is lawyer by profession and writer by passion. He is currently based in Bangalore.
Hi, myself Cyril Jacob, and I'm going to recite my poem titled Azure. The walk through the boulevard made me savor the moment. The morning never felt so welcoming, with birds chirping from end to end. As the trees dance in the breeze, I cherish the pleasant vibes nature has to offer. And with each day, there is a new lease of life I strive to seize. The beautiful azure sky makes me appreciate the things we take for granted. It leaves me feeling truly enchanted. The Lord has indeed bestowed His creation with splendor and majesty, and it is time we bow down with utmost humility.
Sarala Pamala is working as a teacher in Mahatma Jyotiba Phule BC Welfare School in Vizianagaram district. She is a poet and a recipient of Srimati Savitribai Phule Best Women Teacher Award in 2017.
Hi, this is Sarala. I am going to recite the poem Lend Me Two More Legs with the theme The Plight of Migrant Laborers. Hundreds or thousands, lakes or millions, like sand of oceans, had busiest time at patience. Walk, nothing but walk. Walk like a flock. As I am a superfluous migrant laborer, momenting towards my stopover. Lanes and streets, towns and cities, countries and continents are in silence, unable to calm down the clutches of hunger. Onset the countdown, paying watches as a cringer. New type of combat. As I am a superfluous migrant laborer, momenting towards my stopover. The dignitaries and the signatories, the pharmacists and the scientists, are in a race to save their nations. The companies and the entrepreneurs had own calculations to cut down their employees. As I am a superfluous migrant laborer, momenting towards my stopover, sensory and my stomach experience a stimulus carried by my nerve fibers. My brain and my cortical substance hold a lot tight the torture of my intestines, from east to west and north to south. As I am a superfluous migrant laborer, momenting towards my stopover, with bags and baggage, goods and chatties. My workmates are now my companions, involved in this struggle of discordance. Path to walk million meters, with empty stomachs and squeezing pains, as I am a superfluous migrant laborer, momenting towards my stopover. In distress and vanity, in hope and humanity, kith and kin moved on this lockdown as top priority, to hometown with this living carcass. Unending flight of migrants vary from piece to piece. Deciding to jeopardize started this impending calamity. As I am a superfluous migrant laborer, momenting towards my stopover. New lives welcomed in these fatal hours by roadside. Feet of mother feeding baby between the running courtside. Lives death-wrecked in the ocean of COVID. Girl hitchhiked, handicapped father over miles of dozen hundreds. Endured all the stuff by feeding on air. As I am a superfluous migrant laborer, momenting towards the stopover. Or philanthropists, benignance or compassionate, stretched their hands for our lives, thanks. Still the way protracted long, so zizzed on the railway tracks. Anatomate finally during their sleep under the wheels. But the migrant's modus operandi is only to walk. As I am a superfluous migrant laborer, momenting towards my stopover.
Chandra Pandey is an associate professor and head of the Department of English, SKR College, Barbhiga under Mangar University, Mangar. At present, he is serving as the Inspector of Colleges, Mangar University, Mangar. He has nearly 24 published papers and has attended several seminars and conferences. He has nearly 23 years of teaching experience. His area of interest is linguistics and language teaching.
Hello, I am Bhavesh Chandra Pandey, Head Department of English, SKR College Barbigha, Munger University, Munger, Bihar. I am going to recite my poem, exodus. Watch the exodus of the poor folk from towns to their villages, moving from agony to agony in the survival for struggle, being kicked by all like a football. Watch them move away from their native place to a strange town to earn their living, working in precarious situations, building the empire of their masters, living in horrible conditions in filthy slums. Watch how the masters left them in the lurch, forcing them to walk hundreds of miles back to their villages to embrace hunger, removing the ground beneath their feet, making them realize masters will be masters. Listen to the helpless cry of the shelterless beings as they move along roads and rail tracks, carrying belonging on their heads, moving from uncertainty to uncertainty in a cruel, hostile, insensitive, selfish world.
Harshad Pandit hails from Mumbai. He is a biotechnologist from Serum Institute of India and he is also a passionate contributor to literature. Currently, he is working on the COVID vaccine project in his form. Harshad believes in the power of positivity and positive thinking that propels his hobby and passion for poetry.
Hello everyone, my name is Harshad Pandit and I am going to recite my poem entitled Eerie Tranquility. Corona emerged from where did it creep, leaving all mankind to smolder and weep. Be it a man, a motor or a windmill, cometh all humanity to an eerie standstill, unleashing God's fury as nature does smile, be it Amazon, Atlantic, Everest or Nile. For this very day I bought a new gown, with no one to show in this ghostly town. Voice of this eeriness so very profound, not a soul around and not any sound. Spring flower has bloomed out in the meadow, no one to pluck there and any shadow. Confines of our homes were never so sweet, together we sit to chat and to tweet. As serenity descends to quench my heart's spell, a ray of hope with moments of tranquility. In unison we stand to beat this virus, comets together, Ali, Harry and Cyrus. Thank you.
Brajesh Kumar Gupta is the author of 6 books. He is an assistant professor at Ekalavya PG College, Banda, and he resides at Banda, UP in India. He is awarded the presidency of the International Prize di Finibus Terra 4th edition in memory of Maria Montejuro, Italy. He has been awarded an honorary doctorate, Doctor of Literature from the Institute of the European Roma Studies and Research into Crime Against Humanity and International Law, Belgrade. He is also 3rd Secretary General of the World Union of Poets.
Hello friends, I am Dr. Brajesh Kumar Gupta from Banda, Uttar Pradesh. I am going to recite my poem. Title is Migrant Laborers. Why such a cruel joke we are? Who is responsible for our status? What is the fault of us? Who knows all things? We were doing well in our sense. We were happy about our future before the COVID-19. And in the time of pandemic corona, now some rumors and fear are spreading. We are losing our sense. We are running for saving our lives. There is no thirst and hunger for money. We are returning to our natives. We are money for some media, we are politics for some politicians, we are everything for all, but we are not a human being for some people. We believe in God, we pray for everyone's safety, we pray for our safe journey to get our native. Thank you GIPF team for inviting me.
Latha PremSakhya, a retired professor of English, painter and poet, has been writing poetry since 1990. She has authored 3 books entitled Memory Rain, Nature at My Doorstep and Vernal Strokes. Her poems are widely anthologized. Currently, she writes stories for children, contributes poetry and stories for online magazines, functions as editor when called upon, and conducts painting tutorials in YouTube under the auspices of Aksharasthri, the literary women. She is from Perambudur, Ernakulam, Kerala.
Hi friends, I'm Latha PremSakhya. I'm going to recite a poem on the topic Life in the Time of COVID. Title of the poem is An Appeal. My Lord, where are you? You are our refuge and our strength. You promised to save us from deadly pestilence and shelter us under your mighty wings, that we need not fear any stalking contagion, nor the fearful sproglets of the night. Now we are under the threat of a fearful pandemic. An invisible army is invading us. Helpless, with vain tactics, we flail our arms to save ourselves from this unpredictable enemy. From Wuhan, it advanced triumphantly, at lightning speed beyond human ken. White, yellow, black, brown, like skittles fell. Terrible, this imperceptible satanic army, mutating, unpredictable, casting seeds of fear. The world unites to fight together, expecting our God, our Lord at the vanguard. In armor protective, our doctors and nurses, the police, the politicians, the social workers, the rear guard. In arrogance, we thought it could be wiped away, but it marched relentlessly, locking the world down. Like the Sphinx, it waited to pounce upon us, laying siege around our homes, isolating us, locked into eternity. We looked at her for you, my Lord. We are lost your benign care somewhere, besotted with ourselves. Now we are beyond our reach, gracious Lord. In our self-seeking glory, our victory turned mean. For every 100 we gained, we lost thousands. Have pity on us and save us from this perdition, O mighty Lord. You are love incarnate, ready to forgive. You formed us, your pet creations, in our mother's womb. So contrite and repentant we come to thee. Forgive us, heal us, and restore us, so we rectify our ways and survive. Just one more time, merciful Savior, and live according to your mighty will. Thank you.
Hema Ravi writes metrical verses, haiku, haiban and verse libre. Her write-ups and verses have been published in the Hindu, New Indian Express, Femina, Women's Era and several online and international print journals. A few haiku and form poems have been prize winners. She is the author of Everyday English, Write Handwriting series, co-author of Sing Along Indian Rhymes and Everyday Hindi. She is a freelance trainer for IELTS and Communicative English.
Hi, I'm Hema Ravi. I thank the organizers of the Guntur International Poetry Festival for this opportunity. The name of my poem is The Things I Want. Here it goes. The things I want are around. I wonder where they have been all along. In the humdrum of life, a hidden song. Without remorse, I chose to leave behind. The simple joys, were they so hard to find? The simple joys, were they so hard to find? The things I want are around. The river of time waits not, freely flows, to its destination steadily goes. The river of time waits not, freely flows to its destination steadily goes. From the stoic and steely, none can rest. Stay home, the best time for this sincere quest. Stay home, the best time for this sincere quest. The things I want are around. Even if ominous clouds lash and veer, I'll wade through murky waters without smear. As petrichor after prolonged dry spell, accept change, in the song of nature dwell. Accept change, in the song of nature dwell. The things I want are around. Even as I recognize the new norm, it's time for the inner self to transform. It's time for the inner self to transform. In the new dawn that will soon emerge, clasp the only hand that can assuage. In the new dawn that will soon emerge, clasp the only hand that can assuage. Thank you.
Bonika Das is a lecturer in journalism working at Dr. Lankapalli Bullayya College, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. She loves writing poems and quotes.
My name is Bonika Das and the title of my poem is COVID and Hunger, the Deadly Human-Made Monsters. On one fine normal evening, I saw everyone tensed and worrying. It seemed to be an abnormal thing. It was the spread of deadly COVID-19. Lockdown was a new word. The virus seemed to end humans from the world. The tiniest invisible creature was destroying every country's future. The rich bought all they could and store. The poor were left with nothing more and had to starve to death. They were pretty sure that either COVID or hunger would take away their last breath. The babies cried all day and night. The broken mother could not tolerate the sight. She took some stones and boiled them in the pot. Mom must be cooking food, the babies thought. They looked happy for some time. The disheartened mother knew that this disease of poverty and hunger was for a lifetime. Soon they were left with no fuel. The world with COVID now looked more cruel. The babies cried all night that day. The mother lay dead on the dry hay. She didn't have a penny left to buy food. With a broken heart she went and got some poisonous leaves from the nearby woods. The babies lay still now next to her. Without her, their world was a blur. Tears just rolled down from those red eyes because of hunger. COVID had turned out to be the worst monster. Hunger and COVID together embraced the little souls. Life looked devastated and death mourned. Thank you.
P.V. Ramana, PGT English, has been teaching English for the last 30 years. TREI Society, Hyderabad, produced a series of student authors, literature of TREI government residential schools as Space Blooms, worked as editor for these series. Got published his poems on Poetry Soup International platform.
Hi, I am P.V. Ramana. I am going to recite my poem Long March. Deadly clangs of the danger bells cast brutal and venomous fangs. None of the cults leaving unaffected, millions of the downtrodden trudged. Uncared the risk of their lives, impulsively they started walking the miles. Carrying the precious bale of belongings on their heads, moving with long strides, confronting unprecedented warnings and alerts, camouflaging and vamoosing to all corners. A longing urge to hug their kith and kin, praying God and cursing their undone sin. With stomachs half-filled and perspiring, walking on the bed of fire with the feet parching. the threads of emotional attachments that compelled to leave their settlements. The weary and bare legs with cracks on feet, leaving on the long roads the smudges of sweat, unheard long march of stepping back, pulled the nation's economy into a setback. Don't trivialize them tremulous and quivery legs, but mighty pillars which can help economic resilience. Thank you.
Nidhi Kurvarani is trilingual poetess from Gujarat, India. She has worked as an English lecturer. Her many of the poems have been published in the national and international anthologies, magazine, e-zines, and rewarded in many national and international contests as well. Awarded too for her literary contribution.
Hi, I am Nidhi Kurvarani. I am going to recite my poem Misery in the Time of COVID. Before this writing, my hand was shaking with the pain was crying. Everyday headlines, news channels full with the COVID news. Lots of people lost their loved ones, lots of people lost their jobs. There was nothing to eat. In that case at home, how one can sit? Hungry stomach, lack of the survival money, stressful minds. Fear of corona was less than tears of the hunger. Kids and families were in await of the breads, used to sleep by drinking just water. Thousands of people started their journey towards their villages. People were ready to face whether death or life. At any cost, they wanted to reach their homes. They were tired of struggling before COVID strife. On their ways, many of lost their lives. Many of died with hungers, weakness and corona. This pandemic badly affected all over the world. Let's pray to Almighty that it may end soon. Heard the tears of your kids and shower boon. Thank you.